It started with a single tweet, but by the end of the week, fans were watching what looked like a new civil war unfold right in front of them. What began as a cryptic message from SZA about Mercury retrograde has now spiraled into a chaotic, messy, and deeply personal conflict between her and Nicki Minaj. And with Drake and Kendrick Lamar still at odds, it's hard not to look at this new fallout as the natural extension of the bigger battle that's consumed hip-hop all year. Welcome to celebrity rap life, where the red carpets never roll up and the spotlight never fades. The rewards are legendary. Because in celebrity rap life, every downfall can become a comeback, and every headline tells a deeper story. Hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss a second of what's coming next. The rivalry is no longer just Drake versus Kendrick. It's become Drake and Nicki Minaj versus Kendrick Lamar and SZA. A true tag team clash between two of rap and R&B's most dominant duos. And if this latest chapter is anything to go by, it's not just about the music anymore, it's personal. Let's start with the tweet that lit the match. SZA, fresh off a triumphant European leg of the Grand National Tour with Kendrick, posted what seemed like a harmless message to her followers. Mercury retrograde. Don't take the bait, little silly goose. No names. No subtext that screamed beef. Just your average astrology tweet, the kind she's posted dozens of times over the years. But this time, Nicki Minaj took it differently. According to people close to the situation, the tweet came hours after Nicki made a subtle dig at Anthony Top Dog Tiffith, better known as Punch, the TDE executive who manages SZA. Fans began piecing it together quickly. Nicki criticizes Punch. SZA posts about not taking the bait. To many, it looked like SZA was calling Nicki out for picking fights she couldn't win. Nicki didn't hesitate. Within hours, her Twitter feed erupted with a string of sharp, barely veiled tweets. She didn't mention SZA by name at first, but the tone, the timing, and the context made it obvious. She made digs about industry puppets, celebrities hiding behind cosmic excuses, and R&B singers who only pop when they got a rapper on their hook. And then came the more vicious tweet, where Nicki appeared to criticize SZA's appearance, suggesting she was buying curves and still couldn't buy respect. SZA didn't let it slide. She clapped back in her usual calm but unfiltered tone. I don't give a fuck about none of that weird shit you popping. It was short, sharp, and signaled that she wasn't going to let Nicki frame the narrative. And just like that, the internet exploded. The beef became official. And this wasn't just about personality clashes or passive-aggressive tweets. This felt rooted in something deeper, respect, insecurity, maybe even territory. Nicki Minaj has long claimed her spot at the top of the female rap hierarchy, and for years, she's defended that throne aggressively. From Lil' Kim to Cardi B to Megan Thee Stallion, there's always been a pattern. Nicki doesn't like sharing the crown. But SZA, she's not a rapper. She's an R&B singer. Still, somehow, she became Nicki's next target. Why? Because this time, it's not just about two women in the industry, it's about their alliances. Kendrick Lamar and SZA are a unit. Just like Drake and Nicki Minaj. They've made music together, stood by each other, and most recently, stood on opposite sides of the biggest rap feud in years. So when SZA appeared to indirectly call Nicki out, and when Nicki responded with vitriol, it didn't take long for fans to see the bigger picture. We're witnessing the extension of the Drake versus Kendrick war. But this time, it's involving the women who've been central to their careers. The duo dynamic has never been clearer. Drake and Nicki have been ride or die since the early Young Money days. SZA and Kendrick. They've toured together, made Grammy-nominated hits, and always spoken glowingly about one another. This time, the fight is falling right along those same battle lines. But things escalated further when Nicki brought streaming numbers into the conversation. In another tweet, Nicki claimed that SZA and Kendrick had lost almost 30 million bot streams, implying their numbers were artificially inflated and that the industry was finally catching up. It was a shocking accusation, one that mirrored recent legal and public disputes surrounding streaming fraud, bot activity, and fake plays. What made the claim even more surprising was that Nicki herself had reportedly been affected by similar bot purges, something she quickly brushed off, arguing that hers were irrelevant in comparison. But fans weren't buying it. Many pointed out the hypocrisy in calling out SZA and Kendrick for something that impacted nearly every top-tier artist, including Nicki herself. And others suggested that the timing of her tweets had less to do with streaming integrity and more to do with jealousy. Because the truth is, SZA is having one of the best years of her career. After a massively successful tour with Kendrick Lamar, packed out stadiums, critical acclaim, and undeniable stage chemistry, she's elevated to a new level of visibility. She's no longer just the R&B girl in the background. She's a main character now. And that rise might have made her a threat. Nicki's history with other women in the industry is complicated. It's full of feuds, public fallouts, and moments where support turned into silence. Every time a new female artist gains momentum, the conversation always shifts. How will Nicki react? Will she embrace or reject? And too often, it's the latter. SZA, however, is not built for Twitter beef. She's soft-spoken, emotional, deeply spiritual. But she's also no pushover. This isn't the control-era SZA who second-guessed herself. This is 2025 SZA, who's performed for over 1 million fans, shared stages with Kendrick Lamar, and proven time and again that her voice carries weight, in the studio and beyond. The divide is clear now. Drake and Nicki, once the face of a generation, are fighting to maintain relevance and dominance in an industry that's shifting beneath their feet. Kendrick and SZA, on the other hand, are building something fresh. Something grounded in artistry, not algorithms. And fans are choosing sides. On one end, you have Team OVO/Barbz, fans loyal to Drake's swagger and Nicki's unmatched discography. On the other, you have those rallying behind TDE's spiritual strength, Kendrick's poetry, and SZA's vulnerability. What makes this moment so potent is that it's no longer about just music. It's about identity, about power, about the future of hip-hop and R&B. And whether either side meant to draw the battle lines this clearly, it's obvious now. The internet sees this as a war between two pairs of giants. The question isn't just who wins the charts. It's who wins the hearts of the culture. Nicki Minaj firing at SZA may have seemed impulsive, but there's likely a deeper insecurity at play. The industry is shifting. New queens are rising. Old alliances are fading. And Nicki, once the undisputed ruler of rap, is now surrounded by challengers from all sides. Some critics say she lashes out when threatened. Others say she's just protecting what she built. Either way, her constant clashes with female artists raise an uncomfortable question. Why does she keep finding herself in these same situations? Is it the industry? Is it personal? Or is it simply that Nicki refuses to let go of a crown she sees as hers alone? For SZA, the backlash might seem overwhelming. But if the Kendrick Lamar feud has proven anything, it's that TDE artists don't fold under pressure. They respond with precision, with silence, with art. And in the end, this may be the biggest difference between the two camps. Drake and Nicki, they post, they tweet, they vent. Kendrick and SZA, they build, they create. They move in silence until it's time to speak through the music. So where does this go from here? Nicki's tweets remain up. SZA has gone quiet. Drake hasn't commented. Kendrick, as always, watches from a distance. But fans know this isn't over. The tension is too thick, the team's too clear, the stakes too high. The industry is watching. The fans are speculating. And somewhere in the middle of all this noise, the fate of 2 generations of artists hangs in the balance. What started as a war of words might just end in music. But if the tone of the last few months is anything to go by, this isn't just beef. It's legacy. This story is far from over, and the truth is still unfolding. I want to hear what you think. Drop your take in the comments. And if you don't want to miss the next twist, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss a second of what's coming next.